Have you ever wondered why some people seem to rise effortlessly in life, while others, despite working just as hard, feel stuck in the same place year after year? The truth is, success isn't reserved for the lucky few. It isn't something you stumble upon by accident or inherit just because you're born into the right family. Success follows principles, timeless, universal principles that work like the laws of gravity. Whether you believe in them or not, they shape your results every single day. And once you learn them, you can apply them in your own life to create extraordinary outcomes. Jack Canfield, the author of the Success Principles, calls these the rules of success. Just like you wouldn't expect to fly an airplane without learning how aerodynamics works, you can't expect to build a fulfilling and prosperous life without understanding these principles. And that's why this book is so powerful. It's like a manual for success. It gathers decades of research, stories, and proven practices into one guide that shows you step by step how to go from where you are now to where you want to be. Now, you might already know Jack Canfield's name from another place. He is one of the co-creators of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, a collection of inspirational stories that became a worldwide publishing phenomenon. Millions of copies sold, translated into dozens of languages, and reaching people in every corner of the globe. That alone could have been enough to secure his place in the world of personal development. But Canfield didn't stop there. He spent his life studying what makes people succeed, what separates high achievers from those who struggle, and he condensed that wisdom into the success principles. Why is this book still relevant today? We live in a world where everything is changing faster than ever. Technology shifts overnight. Jobs come and go, and attention is scattered across endless distractions. Many people feel uncertain, even overwhelmed. And yet, the principles of success remain the same. They don't expire. They don't get outdated. They don't depend on external circumstances. Whether you lived in 1925, 2025, or 100 years from now, the fundamental truths about responsibility, vision, action, and mindset are exactly the same. That's why this book continues to resonate with readers worldwide. But let's step into the first core idea, the one principle that everything else is built upon, taking full responsibility for your life. Canfield starts here because it's impossible to build success on excuses. Think about it. How often do we blame traffic for being late, our boss for our lack of progress, or even the economy for why our dreams aren't possible? It feels comforting in the moment because it shifts the responsibility away from us. But in reality, it takes away our power. Imagine you're holding the steering wheel of the car, but every time you don't like where the car is going, you let go and say, "It's not my fault. The road made me do it." That sounds ridiculous, right? Yet, that's exactly how most people live their lives. They give up control by blaming others, circumstances, or even luck. The principle here is simple. If you want to change your life, you must first accept that you are driving the car. No one else. Not the government, not your family, not your past. Just you. This doesn't mean life is always fair. Bad things happen. People betray trust, companies fail, accidents occur. But Canfield reminds us that while we can't always control what happens, we can always control how we respond. And that response shapes our results. The formula he uses is event plus response equals outcome. The event might be out of your hands, but your response isn't. And that is where your power lies. Now, once you accept full responsibility, the next step is clarity. Success begins with a clear vision. Ask yourself, what do you really want? Not what your parents want for you, not what society expects, but what you truly want. This might sound simple, but most people never stop long enough to define it. They drift through life reacting to circumstances instead of creating them. Think of it like trying to build a house without a blueprint. You might gather bricks and wood, but without a clear plan, you'll end up with a mess. In the same way, life without a vision leads to frustration and wasted effort. Canfield emphasizes that clarity is magnetic. It draws resources, people, and opportunities toward you. When you know what you want, you can recognize doors that open, whereas someone without clarity walks past them without even noticing. So, how do you find that vision? Canfield suggests a simple but powerful exercise. Imagine your ideal life 3 years from now. Where are you living? What kind of work are you doing? Who are you surrounded by? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Don't hold back, and don't limit yourself to what feels realistic. At this stage, the goal is to dream boldly and paint a vivid picture, because the clearer the picture in your mind, the easier it becomes to move toward it. But here's the catch. Vision alone isn't enough. You need goals. Clear, specific, measurable goals that act like stepping stones between where you're now and where you want to be. If vision is the destination on the map, goals are the milestones along the journey. Canfield points out that vague goals like, I want to be rich or I want to be happy don't work. Why? Because your brain doesn't know what to do with them. But a goal like, I will save $10,000 in the next 12 months, or I will exercise 4 times a week, is actionable and trackable. One of the most fascinating things about the human brain is that it works like a GPS system. Once you set a specific destination, your subconscious begins noticing opportunities, resources, and ideas that align with that destination. It's not magic. It's simply the power of focus. You probably experienced this before. The moment you decide to buy a certain type of car, you start seeing it everywhere. It didn't suddenly appear. It was always there. But now your focus makes you notice it. That's how goals work. So far, we've looked at responsibility, vision, and goals. These may sound like separate pieces, but they're deeply connected. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for external change and start creating internal change. When you clarify your vision, you give yourself a compelling reason to act. And when you set goals, you break that vision into manageable steps that you can pursue every single day. But Canfield also warns us about one of the greatest enemies of success: fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what people will think. Fear has stopped more dreams than any external obstacle. Think about it. How many times have you had an idea, a plan, or a desire, but you held back because you were afraid of the what-ifs? What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if they say no? Canfield flips this question around. What if you succeed? What if the thing you're afraid to try is the very thing that changes your life? The truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. Every successful person has failed more times than the average person has even tried. The difference is, they didn't let fear stop them. They acted in spite of it. And here's the good news. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward even when fear is present. Each time you take action despite fear, the fear shrinks. And eventually, you build the confidence to tackle bigger challenges. That's where we'll pause for now. We've set the foundation: responsibility, vision, goals, and the courage to move forward. These are the cornerstones of success. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into the habits, relationships, and mindset shifts that keep you on track when challenges arise. When we left off, we had built a foundation: taking full responsibility for your life, creating a clear vision, setting specific goals, and finding the courage to act in spite of fear. But even with that foundation, the journey of success is not always a straight line. Life is a way of testing us, presenting challenges, delays, and setbacks that can make even the strongest vision feel distant. This is where persistence comes in. Jack Canfield emphasizes that persistence is the glue that holds all the other principles together. Anyone can be motivated for a week, a month, or even a year. But the real test is whether you keep going when progress is slower than expected, when people doubt you, or when results don't come right away. Many people quit just before a breakthrough. Imagine a miner digging for gold. He works day after day, but eventually he gets tired and gives up. Another miner takes his place, digs just a few more feet, and strikes gold. The lesson here is simple. Most people give up too soon. Success often lies just beyond the point where average people quit. This isn't about blindly pushing forever. It's about committing to your vision long enough for the seeds you planted to grow. Think of a bamboo tree. After planting it, you water and nurture for years with no visible growth above the ground. Then suddenly, in a short span, it shoots up several feet. Did the growth happen overnight? No. It was happening all along, beneath the surface. That's how persistence works. Your efforts may not always show immediate results, but beneath the surface, things are aligning. To sustain this persistence, habits play a critical role. Canfield reminds us that success isn't about massive effort all at once. It's about small, consistent actions repeated over time. The habits you practice daily are like compound interest. They multiply results. For example, reading 10 pages of a good book each day may not seem like much, but over a year, that's thousands of pages of knowledge. Saving just a small percentage of your income each month may feel insignificant, but over time, it builds wealth. Habits also free your mind from constant decision-making. Instead of waking up and debating whether to exercise, a habit means you simply do it, no questions asked. The key is to design habits that align with your vision. And just as important, to remove habits that pull you away from it. Canfield suggests replacing the question, "Do I feel like doing this?" with, "Does this move me closer to my goals?" That shift transforms daily choices into purposeful actions. But even strong habits can be fragile if the environment around you is working against your goals. That's why another principle Canfield stresses is the power of environment. Your surroundings, both physical and social, shape your behavior more than you might think. If your workspace is cluttered, your mind struggles to focus. If your friends complain constantly, negativity seeps into your thinking. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with inspiring books, supportive people, and uplifting influences, success becomes more natural. There's a saying that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Canfield takes this seriously. If you want to grow, you must intentionally place yourself in environments that reflect where you want to go, not where you've been. This might mean joining a mastermind group, finding mentors, or spending less time with people who drain your energy. It doesn't mean abandoning relationships altogether, but it does mean protecting your focus and surrounding yourself with people who lift you higher. And that brings us to the importance of relationships in achieving success. Canfield makes it clear, nobody succeeds alone. Even the most self-made entrepreneurs or leaders relied on networks, mentors, and teams. Collaboration amplifies what you can achieve. Asking for help isn't weakness, it's strategy. Too often, people let pride or fear of rejection hold them back from seeking support. But Canfield encourages flipping that mindset. Think of it this way. Most people actually enjoy helping when they can. By reaching out, you give them the opportunity to contribute. And in return, you move forward faster. Building relationships isn't just about asking, though. It's also about giving. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen connections is to help others achieve their goals. When you focus on contributing, opportunities often circle back to you in unexpected ways. The universe, as Canfield puts it, has a way of rewarding generosity. Persistence, habits, environment, and relationships, these are all external actions. But equally important is the internal work, mastering your mindset. Canfield explains that your beliefs act like invisible scripts running in the background of your life. If you believe you're not worthy of success, you'll subconsciously sabotage opportunities. If you believe money is evil, you'll resist building wealth. These limiting beliefs often come from childhood, shaped by things parents, teachers, or society told us. The good news is beliefs can be rewritten. One powerful tool is affirmations, positive statements repeated daily to reprogram the subconscious. At first, it may feel strange to say, "I am confident and successful," when you don't yet feel that way. But repetition, combined with motion and visualization, gradually replaces the old scripts with new ones. The brain begins to act as if the new belief is true, and your actions follow. Over time, the outer reality catches up with the inner belief. Visualization is another technique Canfield champions. Athletes have used it for decades, imagining themselves performing perfectly before stepping onto the field. The mind can't fully distinguish between vivid imagination and real experience. By visualizing your goals as already achieved, you train your brain to recognize and create opportunities that align with that vision. But mindset also requires managing doubt and setbacks. No matter how strong your vision, there will be moments when things don't go as planned. Canfield encourages reframing these moments not as failures, but as feedback. Each setback is information, something to learn from, adjust, and try again. The only true failure is quitting. This shift in perspective transforms challenges into stepping stones. For example, Thomas Edison famously said he didn't fail 1,000 times while inventing the light bulb. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. That mindset of resilience is what separates those who eventually succeed from those who stop halfway. And yet persistence and mindset alone aren't enough without one more ingredient: taking action now. Procrastination is the silent killer of dreams. People wait for the perfect time to start, after the degree, after the promotion, after the economy improves. But the perfect time never comes. Conditions will always be imperfect. The most successful people act anyway, adapting as they go. Canfield suggests a simple practice. Do 5 small things every day that move you closer to your goal. They don't have to be huge. Send an email, make a phone call, read a chapter, save a small amount, practice a skill. Over a year, that's nearly 2,000 actions. Imagine the compound effect of that kind of steady momentum. By now, the picture is becoming clear. Success is not about one dramatic leap. It's about consistent steps. It's about persistence when progress is slow, habits that align with your goals, environments that support you, relationships that empower you, beliefs that serve you, and daily actions that build momentum. And perhaps the most encouraging truth Canfield offers is this: none of these require special talent, luck, or circumstances. Anyone can take responsibility, set a vision, build habits, choose their environment, and act consistently. Success is not about being extraordinary. It's about being disciplined. Ordinary people, applying these principles, create extraordinary lives. We've now explored the middle layers of Canfield's framework, but we're not done. In the next part, we'll move into some of the deeper strategies, like how to stay motivated over the long run, how to use feedback wisely, and how to turn success into significance. Because achieving goals is one thing, but creating a meaningful life is something even greater. As we continue this journey through the success principles, we've seen how responsibility, vision, goals, persistence, habits, environment, relationships, and mindset all work together to shape success. But even with all of these in place, there's another challenge everyone faces on the path to achievement: staying motivated over the long haul. It's easy to feel inspired in the beginning. A new goal carries energy, like the spark of a fresh fire. But what happens when weeks turn into months and excitement fades? What keeps you going then? Jack Canfield offers a simple but profound answer. Reconnect regularly with your why. Your why is the reason behind the goal. If your goal is to get in shape, your why might be to have the energy to play with your kids. If your goal is financial freedom, your why might be the security of knowing your family is cared for. Surface goals don't sustain motivation. Deep reasons do. That's why Canfield recommends writing your goals down and reviewing them daily, paired with the reasons you want them. This practice keeps the fire alive when obstacles appear. Another way to sustain motivation is through celebration. Too often, we only celebrate the big wins: the graduation, the promotion, the house purchase. But Canfield reminds us to celebrate small wins along the way. Progress, no matter how small, deserves recognition. When you celebrate, you reinforce a behavior, making it more likely to continue. Think of it like giving your brain a reward, a signal that says, keep going, this is working. But motivation also grows through accountability. Telling someone else your goals creates a sense of responsibility beyond yourself. It's easy to break a promise to yourself, but much harder to break one to a friend, a mentor, or a coach who's cheering you on. Canfield encourages finding accountability partners, people who will encourage you, challenge you, and hold you to your word. Even with motivation and accountability, challenges still come. And this is where feedback becomes one of the most valuable tools in the success journey. Most people fear feedback because they confuse it with criticism, but Canfield reframes it as information, neutral data that helps you adjust your approach. Imagine you're shooting arrows at a target. If you miss, the miss isn't failure, it's feedback. It tells you to aim differently next time. Without that feedback, you'd never improve. Successful people seek feedback constantly. They ask, what worked? What didn't? What can I do better next time? They treat feedback as a teacher, not a judge. And because of this, they grow faster than those who avoid it. But feedback also requires humility. It's not always easy to hear that your current approach isn't working. Yet Canfield insists that being open to correction is a sign of strength, not weakness. Those who resist feedback often repeat the same mistakes. Those who welcome it adapt and rise. Closely tied to feedback is the way we view setbacks. Many people see setbacks as signs to quit, but Canfield sees them as invitations to grow. Every obstacle carries within it a lesson, a skill to be learned, or a strength to be developed. If you view setbacks as temporary and purposeful, they stop being roadblocks and become stepping stones. Think of the stories of great innovators, artists, or leaders. Nearly every one of them experienced repeated failure before breakthrough success. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Thomas Edison tried thousands of experiments before creating the light bulb. Their setbacks weren't dead ends. They were redirections. They refined their approach, learned, and persisted until they succeeded. This is why Canfield stresses the importance of resilience. Resilience isn't about avoiding difficulty. It's about bouncing back stronger each time. Like a muscle, resilience grows the more you use it. Each time you face a challenge and push through, your confidence grows. You begin to see yourself as someone who can handle adversity, and that identity carries you forward. But there's another principle that elevates success beyond personal gain, and that's the idea of contribution. True fulfillment doesn't come only from achieving your own goals. It comes from using your success to make a difference in the lives of others. Canfield explains that contribution creates a sense of purpose that achievement alone can't provide. Think about it. The most admired and remembered people in history are those who gave something meaningful to the world. They didn't just accumulate wealth or titles. They created value, inspired others, or made life better in some way. Contribution transforms success into significance. And contribution doesn't have to mean changing the whole world. It can mean making a difference in your family, your community, or even in the life of one person. Success that serves only yourself eventually feels hollow. Success that lifts others fills you with energy and purpose. One of the beautiful truths Canfield shares is that the more you contribute, the more opportunities flow back to you. This isn't about giving with the expectation of receiving. It's about aligning with the natural flow of generosity. When you add value, people are drawn to you. When you help others, doors open. Contribution creates a ripple effect that returns in ways you might never expect. Another important idea is that success is not a destination, but a continuous journey. Too often, people think, once I achieve this goal, then I'll be successful. But Canfield challenges this thinking. Success isn't something you arrive at one day and then stop. It's a way of living, constantly growing, learning, contributing, and creating. Each goal achieved is not the end, but a new beginning. This perspective takes away the pressure of arriving and replaces it with curiosity and joy in the process. Life becomes less about chasing a final point and more about enjoying the unfolding journey. You're not just climbing one mountain. You're preparing for a lifetime of mountains, each with its own lessons and rewards. As we move toward the final part of this script, let's bring these ideas together. Motivation is sustained not by willpower alone, but by reconnecting with your why, celebrating progress, and surrounding yourself with accountability. Feedback turns mistakes into teachers. Setbacks become opportunities for growth. Contribution turns success into significance. And the journey of success is never complete. It is an ongoing process of becoming more than you were yesterday. This is where the success principles moves beyond a self-help book and becomes a philosophy for living. It's not about quick fixes or shortcuts. It's about aligning your daily actions with timeless truths that have worked for generations. When you live by these principles, success stops being a question of if and becomes a matter of when. We've now explored nearly the full framework Canfield lays out. What remains is a closing message, practical steps you can start taking today, the final encouragement to take ownership of your dreams, and a reminder that the power to create your life has always been in your hands. That's what we'll cover in the final segment. As we come to the final part of this journey through the success principles, let's pause for a moment. We've walked through responsibility, vision, goals, persistence, habits, relationships, mindset, feedback, resilience, and contribution. But here's the truth. None of these principles matter unless they're applied. Knowing them is not enough. Understanding them is not enough. Transformation comes only from living them. Jack Canfield insists that action is the bridge between dreams and reality. You could spend hours reading, watching, or listening to motivational content, but if you never act on it, your life won't change. The world doesn't reward ideas. It rewards applied ideas. And so, the question becomes, how do we begin applying these principles in a way that sticks? The first step is clarity. Clarity creates power. When you're clear about what you want, you can align your thoughts, actions, and decisions in that direction. Without clarity, you drift, pulled by circumstances rather than guided by purpose. Canfield suggests a simple daily practice. Write down your top goals, review them every morning, and visualize yourself living them. This repetition programs your mind to focus on what matters most. The second step is consistency. Success is rarely the result of one dramatic action. More often, it's the accumulation of small, consistent actions over time. 10 minutes of focused effort every day beats 2 hours of scattered effort once a month. Just as drops of water carve out stone, your daily actions carve out your future. Canfield's message is simple. Success isn't built in a day, but it is built daily. The third step is courage. No matter how much you prepare, fear will always appear at the edges of growth. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. It's all part of the process. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite fear. Canfield reminds us that everything we want lies on the other side of fear. Each time you act in the face of fear, the fear loses its power and your confidence grows. The fourth step is community. Success is rarely achieved alone. The people you surround yourself with either pull you up or hold you back. Canfield encourages you to seek out mentors, peers, and role models who embody the principles you want to live by. Being in their presence not only inspires you, but also normalizes a habit of success. What once felt difficult becomes natural when it's part of your environment. The fifth step is contribution. While pursuing personal goals is important, fulfillment deepens when your success impacts others. This doesn't mean you must give away everything or sacrifice your own dreams. It means remembering that your gifts, talents, and achievements can create ripples far beyond yourself. Contribution gives your journey meaning. It reminds you that success isn't just about living well. It's about helping others live well too. To make this practical, let's bring the principles together into a simple, repeatable process you can start today. Take full responsibility. Stop blaming. Stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Own your life as it is and as it could be. Define your vision. Write down what success looks like for you in vivid detail. Not society's definition, your own. Set clear goals. Break your vision into achievable steps with timelines and measures of progress. Act consistently. Do something every single day that moves you closer to your goals. Even if it's small, it counts. Learn from feedback. Treat mistakes as lessons and use them to refine your approach. Stay resilient. When setbacks come, and they will, see them as part of the process, not as the end of it. Celebrate progress. Acknowledge every step forward to keep motivation alive. Give back. Use your success to contribute in some way, big or small, to others around you. If you follow this cycle, you'll find yourself not just achieving goals, but become the kind of person who continuously grows, adapts, and contributes. Now, let's end with something important. Success isn't a straight line. There will be days of doubt, days of struggle, days when you question if it's worth it. And in those moments, remember this. You are always one decision away from turning things around. One decision to take responsibility. One decision to keep going. One decision to try again. Jack Canfield's own journey is proof of this. He wasn't born into wealth or fame. He started as a teacher, writing small lessons and stories. He faced rejection after rejection before finally finding success with chicken soup for the soul. He kept going because he believed in the principles he was teaching. His story reminds us that success doesn't belong to the lucky few. It belongs to those who align their lives with timeless truths and refuse to give up. So, as you finish watching this video, I want you to think about one action you can take today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, that aligns with the principles we've discussed. Write it down. Do it. And let that small step be the beginning of momentum that carries you forward. Because at the end of the day, your life is your creation. The pen is in your hand. The pages are blank. And the success principles are your guide to writing the story you want to live. If you found value in this video and you're ready to keep growing, learning, and moving toward your vision of success, then subscribe to this channel. We're building a space where ideas turn into action and where action turns into transformation. And if you know someone who could benefit from these principles, share this video with them, because success shared is success multiplied. Thank you for spending this time here. Remember, take responsibility, dream big, act daily, and give back. Your best life isn't out of reach. It's waiting for you to claim it.